Hello, everyone. This is the Desert Cardinal, and sorry that I haven't made a video in the last couple of days. You know, the whole point of my channel, well, one of the main points of my channel is to chronicle my journey through mental illness. And I had quite a journey the last couple of days, but I got it in my head, if I'm struggling or whatever, I can't make a video, which is stupid because the whole point is for you guys to see the struggles and the good times and the bad times. So anyhow, what happened was a couple of nights ago, I was trying to sleep, and the I had been, if you haven't seen my other videos, I've been talking about how there's been an increase in hearing voices and hallucinating. Um, and I'm diagnosed bipolar 1, and with psychotic features. And so that's just a part of it. Um, and but I haven't experienced hearing voices like that where it was just constant, and it didn't make any sense. It would be like, you know, are you going to crush those rocks? Are you going to, are you going to sweep up the yard? Are you going, just weird stuff, but it was almost, I wouldn't say like constant, but pretty close to being constant. And then the hallucinations were just as intense. And um, like I said, this was a couple of days ago. And then yesterday morning, I had a regularly scheduled appointment with my primary care doctor, and I went to see him for my checkup. And I was telling him about what had happened the night before, and he said, "Man, as soon as you finish with me, go to your psychiatrist's office and talk to him." And so I did, and I had been on lithium, and they took me off the lithium about a couple of weeks ago and started me on Latuda. I have lymphedema in my legs, and primarily my legs. Sometimes my arms will swell, but they were concerned because the lithium was causing the swelling in my legs. So they took me off that and they put me on the Latuda, but they only put me on like 20 milligrams of Latuda. And so yesterday they increased it to 60. And I can, it's weird. Usually with psych medicine, it takes a while to kick in, but man, I sure could tell a difference today, having taken the 60 yesterday and then the 60 today. Uh, it's still there, but I'm able to use this coping skills that I was taught about putting it in the background. In other words, it's there. You recognize that it's there, but you can distract yourself so it doesn't become something that consumes you. And and so hold on a sec. Sorry, guys. Uh, so this this week has been a lot about me learning my coping skills and relearning them again, and moving into a different phase. And I think I've said before in other videos, the thing about mental illness is that it's just, it's like it's inconsistent, and you could be feeling, like everything's great, and no problems, and you're able to get involved in things, and and do things, and then boom, all of a sudden, about the time you think, oh well, maybe I've turned a corner, and then boom, something happens, and that's kind of the way it was this time. And but I think, had it been a year ago, I probably would have ended up in the hospital. Um, but I was determined not to go to the hospital. And so, I was able to get to the psychiatrist's office. I was able to make phone calls. I was able to see my doctor. I was able to do some things that, you need to do. And it paid off, because, going in the hospital, whether you have insurance or not, is expensive. And not just in money, but in other things as well. So um, I've been learning about triggers, and I want to talk to you guys about triggers, but I just wanted to update you all on what's going on. I'm okay, and I'll be okay. And uh, a lady, there's a lady telling me uh, that she saw a TED talk about voices and stuff, and the lady that was doing the talk said to make friends with your voices, and that really spoke to me because, you know several years back I went through a real difficult time, and a good friend of mine, um, he's actually my spiritual director, um, told me to make friends with myself, make friends with my my false self, my true self, my whole self, the good, the bad, the ugly, to make friends with that, to be okay with who I am and what I am, and hearing the thing about making friends with the voices reminded me of that, and and I like that. I like that terminology, or that visual that's created in your mind of making friends, making friends with your voices, making friends with your problems, making friends with your struggles, making friends with your past, making friends with yourself in the present. And you know I don't know if it's a tendency for people that are mentally ill, but it seems like, in my experience with a lot of the people I know, that we are our own worst enemy, and oftentimes we're way, way, way harder on ourselves than we need to be, and um, and that keeps us from being in the moment, keeps us from uh, being authentic, and being living out of our true self, our real self, our authentic being. And so yeah, next video we'll talk about triggers. uh, yeah, so hope you guys have a good evening, and we'll talk to you soon.